Why are Lakers fans mad at that? I think because Lakers fans are ultra sensitive toward Michael Malone. You heard from Malone today. Did he provide any bulletin board material in your opinion, Jake? Or is this Lakers fans making a lot out of nothing?
The Nuggets went so far out of the way to not provide bulletin board material that Malone was telling Peyton Watson and Nikola Jokic before they talked to the media, in front of all the media, do not provide bulletin board material.
Really? I didn't know that. Was it like off the record hush hush, or was he kind of joking, or what was the
he
tone?
said it kind of joking in front of the entire media, so
Okay.
I feel comfortable repeating it right now. If it was a little hush hush, I probably wouldn't be repeating it. I'd be talking around it. So I don't think this is in any way bulletin board material. This is the story of what has happened. Nobody on the Lakers is surprised by, we got swept. We've lost 8 straight to them. We couldn't beat them this year, and they've got a lot to prove, and they're going to be hungry. Like, that is the Lakers mentality. Like, in that locker room, LeBron is probably talking to the team going, we can't lose to these guys again. We've got something to prove. So I think LeBron, who, by the way, in the past was very close to Michael Malone, probably has a similar mentality in this series to what Michael Malone thinks LeBron has.
Yeah, that relationship got super frosty. Michael Malone made like one comment on the Pat McAfee show that he was going to retire, and it was a jab at LeBron, and then LeBron had to post from Italy, I see you're still thinking about me, and everyone read that with a twist of irony because it's like, you're the one in Italy thinking about him posting on your Instagram. No, I actually think 10, 15 years ago, LeBron James and Michael Malone were really good friends. I don't think there's much love lost there now. I don't think there's a closeness between those two whatsoever anymore.
And on top of that, Michael Malone's father, Brennan, who just passed away, was also an assistant coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers when LeBron was coming into the league. So it's a familiar, it's a family thing between these two people.
Sure.
That goes back quite a while. So there is something there between Malone and LeBron. I think they probably still have a lot of mutual respect from each other, but that series last year damaged that relationship, no doubt. And I went through some of those quotes today and researching my story on denversports.com about the matchup between the Lakers and Nuggets. And you got to remember what Darin Ham said about Michael Malone, where it was just kind of like that Southern fake, oh, bless his heart, Mike is talking out of pocket, but he's right, they beat us, ha, ha, ha. Mm-hmm. Like, there were some really salty Laker quotes this summer that you may have forgotten about now just because so much time has passed, but you better believe the blood is going to be boiling between these two come Saturday.
Here's Darin Ham last night, post-game thoughts on facing the Nuggets after they took care of the Pelicans in New Orleans. Yeah, so Darin Ham says all the right things, too. Listen, it's back to 0-0 because, yes, when you get swept 4-0, fortunately the next year for the Lakers, they get to reset it to 0-0. Talks about them being the defending champs. So he didn't say anything last night that fired up Nuggets fans. Yet today when Malone points out we swept them last year and we swept them this year, Lakers fans get real sensitive. Apparently that 8-game losing streak is on their minds. Let's put it that way.
There may not be a more sensitive fan base in the NBA than Laker Nation, so this is nothing that is surprising. I've had Lakers fans come after me for simply pointing out there aren't any lakes in Los Angeles. These are just facts about the situation. And you know what, LA fans? You've had the Nuggets number the entire Nuggets franchise history.
My entire life until 14 months ago. Or
There-
not even 14 months ago, 10 months ago.
There were 8 playoff series that the Nuggets and Lakers had played against each other, and the Lakers had won all 8 going into last year.
Yep.
So I have no sympathy for these Lakers fans. They don't even have a right to feel salty because they're sitting on a bed of winning. But this is it. This is the end of the run for LeBron. This team is kind of broken. Darin Ham has been searching for answers all season long again. And you know what? All the national talking heads are going to look at LeBron and the Lakers and going to pick them again. It's how it always works. And we know here in Denver that the Nuggets are really, really good. Are they as good as last year? Well, they won 4 more games in the regular season than they did last year, but
Sure.
I'm not sure that they're as good. Am I confident they're going to beat the Lakers? You've heard me talk. Yes, I'm confident they're going to beat the Lakers. The problem is what happens deeper into the playoffs, and that's a conversation the Nuggets can't be having right now because the Lakers want their number so bad that they're not going to cruise. I'm talking about the Nuggets in a 4-game series. I'm talking about a sweep, but it's going to be like last year where all the games are tight.
That's what I said. Yeah, I think that every game will be tight. I think the Nuggets have proven that they are better than anyone in basketball in the final 6 minutes of games, and they will pull most of them out. I think they'll probably pull it out 4 out of 5 times. Like I said, Nuggets in 5. Nikola Jokic today, just praising LeBron James. The quote, the guy's amazing. He's historic. The things he's doing on the court, he's winning games in so many ways, not just scoring. He can score from any position, basically. He is a monster. Jokic told you guys down there at Ball Arena today and closed with, quote, I really appreciate and really respect him. I think he's a really good basketball player, and I enjoy to play against the best. Yeah, Jokic isn't going to put his foot in his mouth, speak out of turn.
Well, you know what Jokic said in 2017 about LeBron James?
No, refresh me.
When LeBron was guarding him, then 22 years old, he said, quote, that's a mismatch for us.
Okay. And you know what? Maybe Jokic has learned in the last 7 years. I think I remember the play Jokic went in on LeBron. Gosh, was LeBron still in a Cavs uniform at that point, I would guess?
Yeah, and Jokic looked like a completely different player, body shape-wise.
But I think that's a mismatch for us. Yes, that's a young man with not a lot of media training who now is one of the most spotlighted players in the NBA. But I wasn't there today. You were, but you've done a nice job summing it up. That was my vibe from afar, is that the Nuggets aren't going to poke the bear, because you don't poke the bear when you've won 8 times in a row. There's no reason to poke said bear. When you poke bears is when you're underdogs. That's what the Lakers are. When you're the favorites, just go about your business.
Let alone poking the bear. Does it really matter if the Nuggets win in the first round if they don't win in the second round? No, this isn't their ultimate goal.
Sure.
So it doesn't really matter if they win this series. Like, they need to win this series because it's a given. They need to just get through this series as quick as possible, as healthy as possible, because it's the first step in their repeat run. Mm-hmm. It's not about beating the Lakers this year. Last year, 100%, it was about beating the Lakers and getting to your first ever NBA Finals and doing so to get the franchise's first ever sweep. That was all very meaningful. So I think it's just a completely different situation than last year. And throughout the series last year, Michael Malone before was talking about the Lakers. During it was talking about the Lakers and how the media doesn't respect the Nuggets. And then after, just continued on and on and on after the series, in through the finals and throughout the course of the summer. So now that we've flipped the schedule and the calendar and we're into a different season, the Nuggets' approach in this series is almost 100% different than it was last year playing the Lakers. But I do think the mentality of the actual players on the floor is going to be the same. Jamal torches the Lakers every time they meet. Peyton Watson's got something to prove against his hometown team. Nikola loves going against the best players in the league, LeBron and Anthony Davis. Aaron Gordon has something to prove in this series. So does KCP, who's going to try and stick it to the Lakers again, who could have paid for him to make a lot more money than what he makes now a couple years back. And I think most importantly, Michael Porter Jr.'s got a big spotlight on him right now because of the things going on in his personal life and his family life. And Michael Porter Jr., I pointed this out on denversports.com, is the absolute X factor for the Nuggets in this series. When Mike plays good against the Lakers, the Nuggets absolutely roll. And guess what? Mike's played well against the Lakers all of their last 8 meetings against them.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned that news today that Jonte Porter, his brother, has been banned for life by the NBA. Jonte tipped off a bettor on an $81,000 parlay to bet his unders and try to profit $1.1 million. Jonte faked an illness 3 minutes into a game, and of course the bet was flagged because no one bets that much money on Jonte Porter props, the 10th best player on the Raptors. He also bet on 13 NBA games, including a Raptors game where he had them to lose, and Adam Silver makes an example out of Jonte Porter, bans him for life from the league. We don't need to get lost in the weeds on Jonte Porter because this stuff is injustifiable and just mind-bogglingly stupid, for lack of a better term. I mean, not thinking through things. Think that you're not going to get caught betting your unders for $80,000 to try to win $1.1 million. But you mentioned it. I mean, Michael Porter Jr., his other brother had that terribly tragic situation down near DU, charged with vehicular homicide.
And he's getting sentenced on Friday.
Okay, I didn't know that. So these guys are human too. And just because MPJ's brothers both made bad decisions, how is it going to affect him on the court? I think that's a completely fair and inbounds conversation. And unfortunately, if he's getting sentenced on Friday in the same week that his other brother got kicked out of the NBA for life, we do have to wonder what Michael Porter Jr.'s mindset will be in this series and throughout these entire playoffs.
I will tell you from practice, Mike was smiling and laughing today, and probably the safest space he has in life right now might be on the court. And Michael Malone talked about that after practice as well, saying the franchise is behind Mike. We know Mike hasn't done anything wrong. Mike's not the person who's done these things. Awful situation is what Malone said. I feel for the parents. I feel for the whole family. But no matter what, we're a family here as well, and we've all got Mike's back. And I think the Nuggets right now have handled it perfectly. I think Mike has handled it perfectly too. I know the quote looks bad maybe now in retrospect, where he said, I highly doubt my brother would do anything to jeopardize his basketball career. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Maybe Mike doesn't know exactly what's going on. And I'm sure, Will, you've got a sibling, I've got a sibling. I'd always have my siblings back publicly in front of the media. So I really feel bad for Mike right now in this situation, as long as he hasn't done anything wrong, and there's no sign that he's done anything wrong as of now, because he's just been put in an awful spot. And hopefully he can just put all of that to the side, get onto the court, and just do the thing he loves and use that as a safe harbor. It will be in front of a giant spotlight instead of, game 54 against the Hornets.
Sure, yeah, it can hopefully be a distraction for Michael Porter Jr. as his family deals with these two situations that are both terrible in their own right. And Jonte Porter will never step foot on an NBA floor again, something he probably dreamed of doing his whole life. And that has now been taken away from him. And again, it's his own fault. So I don't have a ton of sympathy for Jonte Porter. I understand mistakes are made, but to think you're going to get away with betting $80,000 and then faking sick to make your friend $1.1 million is, again, one of the silliest things I've ever heard in my life.
Based on what my buddy Chase Howell reported on Action Network yesterday, and I don't want to use this term, I'm not accusing him, but it does seem like he may have an addiction, just based off the amount of bets he's made in the last couple of years and the amount of money. It's multi-millions dollars worth of bets, and the report that came out with Action is they didn't have him betting in the state of Colorado on NBA or basketball games, but it was still unique sports like, ping pong, stuff like that, in baseball, football, whatever he could get his hands on. He was betting, and he was one of the most frequent bettors in the state of Colorado. So this is another Colorado. So the state of Colorado is currently investigating Jonte Porter for his betting practices over the course of a 2-year period, 22 to 23. And he was not in the league at that point. He was bouncing in and out of the G League. But this is going to be the first step, really, the NBA banning him in what is probably going to become a criminal case for him as well.
Yeah, we've seen it with Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, that they're not messing around with this stuff. And yeah, it'll certainly be one we need to follow moving forward. There is no easy way to make this transition, so we will try to make it as smooth as possible. But you mentioned MPJ as an X factor in this series, and if we're talking about X factors, let's talk about other X factors. You mentioned Peyton Watson today when you interviewed him. I think the other name that just immediately jumps to my mind, Jake, and I'm curious your thoughts, is Christian Braun, because much like Peyton Watson, Christian Braun's role is going to expand massively in these playoffs. He is now arguably your 6th man or 6.5 man, him and Watson. Reggie Jackson has taken a bit of a step back, but remember, Christian Braun didn't even get in the series rotation against the Lakers.
Well, he was in the first 3 games, and then he got sat in game 4.
I know, but in that third game, he played 6 minutes or something. I mean, they want him to play 20 to 22 minutes. He may close. He may close over MPJ for defensive reasons. So to me, it's Watson, it's MPJ, and it's Braun. Your thoughts particularly on Braun or any other X factors that we are missing as the Nuggets and Lakers are about 72 hours away here from game 1?
Well, Christian Braun's role is so big because Bruce Brown left. He's to fill those shoes. Let's start there. D'Angelo Russell was the guy Bruce Brown was primarily tasked with stopping, and they feuded last year during the series. Bruce held D'Lo in that series to 25 points in total.
Wow.
On 32% shooting.
I remember he was bad. I don't remember him being that bad.
He scored 25 points in the entire series. D'Lo this year, when he scores 4 or more points in a game, the Lakers are 16-3. So he's their X factor.
Okay, so he's a guy we got to watch.
Yeah, so if he's their 3rd best player on a given night and he's actually playing to that level, the Lakers have a shot at winning. So it's up to KCP and then largely Christian Braun as well to stop D'Lo. And what I'll tell you about Christian Braun is his season was kind of up and down for the first 50 games. The last 15 or so have been awesome. He's refined his role. He's narrowed in his focus. And over the last 16 games, Christian's averaging 9 points a night, 4.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists, coming off the bench largely. So that's awesome. You'll take that every night from Christian, about over 28 minutes a game, 27 minutes a game. So I think Christian's in a really good spot. And if he's able to play the way he has over the final stretch of the season and Payton rises to the occasion, it doesn't matter who the Nuggets' 8th or 9th or 10th men are, because they're really only going to be playing 7 guys.
Sure. Yeah, the rotation may get cut to just 7. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Reggie Jackson is out of that rotation at certain points. All right, guys, we are on YouTube at Denver Sports. You can find us there. Denver Sports on YouTube. Please like a video, maybe leave a comment, and most importantly, subscribe. We have fresh content every day from Rachel V. Hill, Cecil, Lammey, Andrew Mason, and our whole DenverSports.com team. So find us on YouTube at Denver Sports. Coming